Hello and welcome to Three Things with J.R. I'm your host, J.R. This is a special episode today. It's episode 116, and most of it is going to be a simulcast, if you will, of my other podcast, Small Things Considered, that I host along with Gary Hawthorne. We have a special episode of that show dropping the same day this episode is dropping because we did a reaction show to all of the music in the Super Bowl, the halftime show, the national anthem, the commercials, all of it. We have thoughts that we wanted to share, and we didn't want to wait any longer. So I'm going to play that episode here in just a few minutes, or you can go listen to that on the Small Things Considered podcast feed. Before I get into all of that and let that episode go, I am going to do three things, but we're going to do it nice and quick so we can get right on to the replay, because this is Three Things with JR, and it wouldn't be that without three things. So here we go. Thing number one. The movie Do the Right Thing. I saw it many, many, many years ago. I don't remember much of it, but I was inclined to rewatch it the other day, and wow, there's so many things going on. All three things today will center around the movie Do the Right Thing. And thing number one is typically something deep. And I did not remember how much police brutality played into the story. I remembered most of the idea of the movie, the pizza shop on a block in New York City, with mostly black people on the block, and the tension between the Italians and the black people and the Koreans across the street, and the Hispanics. I mean, it's a hilarious movie, but it's also full of tension. And the tension culminates in sort of a riot at the end, and the police come in and they handle it about as good as you would expect police to handle it. And I didn't remember just, oh man, I mean, they choked a guy to death, right? I'm not, sorry, maybe I should have said spoiler alert, but I figure this movie was like from the 80s, so you probably know this already. But I thought, man, this shit is still happening. Are the police departments that are having, trouble with police brutality, have they used this movie as a training film? Because it should have been the exact opposite. This was the don't do what happens in this movie thing. But that's not the way it seems to have been taken, because you would think that stuff wouldn't be happening so much anymore, but it is, and it's crazy. And I didn't remember just how big of a deal that was in Do the Right Thing. So it's a powerful movie. I recommend you rewatch it or watch it for the first time if you've never seen it. Thing number two. There are so many great actors in Do the Right Thing. I didn't remember them all. Of course, I remember Danny Aiello, and of course, Spike Lee. What I did not remember was all of the other actors who have gone on to do so many wonderful things. Obviously, Sam Jackson as the DJ in the movie, John Turturro as one of the Italian sons of Danny Aiello, Giancarlo Esposito, who I think of as Gus Fring now. He's got some range, right? Gus Fring couldn't be more different from bugging out in Do the Right Thing. He's totally different, and it's polar opposites, but man, that guy's got range. How about Rosie Perez in Do the Right Thing? Just so many great actors. I highly recommend it. People you will recognize from so many other roles in so many other movies. Ozzie Davis, Frankie Faison. So many good people. This movie is so great on so many levels. Do the Right Thing. Go rewatch it if you haven't seen it already. Thing number three. I'm going to admit to you now something I probably shouldn't, but why did I rewatch Do the Right Thing? It's because of Rosie Perez. Rosie Perez has just, you know how these things come in threes? It's why there's Three Things with JR, but these things happen in threes. And the three things that happened were at work. We talk about cars and car stereos a lot, and we talked about a stereo going into an Isuzu Trooper. And every time I hear about an Isuzu Trooper, which was a very popular vehicle back in the 80s and 90s, every time I hear that, I think of Rosie Perez on David Letterman And every time he had her on, he would ask her about the car she drives. Because the first time he had her on and he asked her what kind of car she drives, she said she drives an Isuzu Trooper, except she said it in such a cute Rosie Perez sort of way. She said Isuzu Trooper. Of course, I'm not doing it justice. Picture Rosie Perez saying that in her adorable accent. And it's why David Letterman asked her to say Isuzu Trooper every single time she was on the show. So it's all I could think of at work the other day. And then on Saturday, when this week's episode of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me came out, that's the NPR news quiz for those that are not listening to that. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Rosie Perez was the special guest on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me this week. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And while she was the special guest, they got to talking about the Ice Cube scene in Do the Right Thing. And I'm not sure how I didn't remember the Ice Cube scene, but the way they described it on NPR, which means extremely vaguely, but in a hilarious sort of way, it made me want to go rewatch Do the Right Thing. And so I did. So the Rosie Perez sort of made it through into my life in 3 different ways within the last week. And she is reason enough to watch Do the Right Thing. She's in it at the very beginning. She's the first person you see, and she is dancing her ass off at the beginning. And then she's in throughout the movie, and her and Spike Lee have a nice moment with some ice cubes, and it's just wonderful. So Do the Right Thing. Go see that movie. Go get it. You know what? It's on. I didn't have to rent it. I forget exactly which streaming service has it right now, but I just was easily able to watch it on my Apple TV. It's on one of the main ones, Amazon or Netflix or Hulu. One of those guys has it right now. You can just go watch it. Do the Right Thing. There you go. All right. That's it for 3 Things. You are now going to hear a complete and full episode of Small Things Considered, episode number 7, where Gary and I recap all of the music heard in and around the Super Bowl. Thanks for listening to this show. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let there be love. Love will find a way. Yes, it will. Let there be love. Love will find a way. Always.
Should we get going?
I think we should get going. I don't even think we should do a pre-roll this time.
Ooh, that's scary. I mean, just music and on.
Yeah, let's just play the theme song and get this show going.
Let's do it.
Welcome to 2 podcasts
A special edition.
at once. Yeah, it's a special edition. Is it 3 Things with JR or is it Small Things?
Small things. Well, there's one thing that's absolute. Things.
Things. Either way, we got things.
Things.
We will consider at least 3 things today, and none of them are big. So,
I don't know. Some of these things could be considered big, but they're all small.
yeah, in the overall scheme of things, these are small things we will be considering today. So welcome to the show. The reason it's kind of weird is because typically we alternate weeks, right? 1 week it's 3 Things with JR. The next week it's Small Things Considered. And we have yet, since starting this show, to break that cycle, but we are breaking it now.
Because we're rebels.
Exactly, because there's no rules in podcasting. We can do whatever we want. Here's why. The Super Bowl, it's already 3 to 4 days since the Super Bowl as we're sitting down to talk about it. And if we waited until the next edition
cycle,
the next cycle of Small Things Considered, it would be 2 weeks or so since the Super Bowl. Who cares by then? So I just kind of thought we should get this stuff out now and while it's fresh, while we have things to say about it.
Yes, because with the last Small Things Considered, we discussed what should we do for the next one, because we're actually trying to do our homework and stuff like that. We found that it's if we have something concrete, that it makes for a better podcast.
Less rambling.
Yes, and it was like, like we're doing now. So we decided on, hey, let's look at there's lots of musicians and stuff in the Super Bowl ads because everyone was playing teasers for the Super Bowl ads before the Super Bowl. So let's talk about the music and the musicians in the Super Bowl ads. And so that's what we decided to do. But that is somewhat time sensitive.
Yeah, so we're doing this Small Things Considered style, but this episode, I'm probably going to record another intro that's just me, and then I'm going to drop this episode in both the Three Things With J.R. podcast feed and the Small Things Considered podcast feed. So we will have, there's some crossover in that audience, but we will have more reach with this one episode, and hopefully maybe invite some Three Things With J.R. listeners to give this other show a try. So that.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
Dude,
I made a list. I was on it the entire Super Bowl with the Notes app on my phone and writing down things. I wrote some reactions and thoughts, but mostly I just listed the things I didn't want to forget us to talk about. And I don't want us to dwell for a long time on any one of these things. Obviously.
Oh, we can't because there's so many.
There's too many. So we'll go fast through a few of these, but we are certainly going to give the things that deserve more attention. So let's kind of go back and forth. Let's alternate. We've both got lists. I don't know whose is longer, Gary.
There you go again.
Oh, no. Sorry, Dad.
Well, mine's on paper, so
Mine's in my OneNotes app, or my Notes app in my phone. So.
As you can see, listening audience, we are totally different. He writes in digital, and I write in old-fashioned.
Gary's analog.
I am analog in a digital world.
So the first thing I have on my list is not a commercial. It was, how at the beginning of every Super Bowl, they do a whole thing about the flag. And Johnny Cash. And this time it was that Johnny Cash thing combined with a choir singing about the flag. And I like that. I like that is evolving, that continues to evolve, but it's still rooted in the Man in Black.
Do you know what imagery that brought up for me?
No, tell me.
Oh, you would have to. The bull rides, man, because we always did it at the bull rides when we were playing with when we were with Ice House Road, and they would do the Man in Black and the ragged old flag. I don't know if it was every time, but it was a lot, and that was the first. I mean, I just started seeing dust, and and cowboys, and that was a kind of a touching moment for me.
I always enjoy it. I love that that they do that at the Super Bowl. It did not remind me of the bull rides, but now that you say that, yeah, that the ragged old flag thing and just that sort of American spirit that you get at those bull rides was on full display here with this version with Johnny Cash and the choir.
Yeah. So next we're going in order. Let's go to Babyface.
Oh, that's way you skipped a bunch of stuff.
Oh, did I? Yeah. What else?
I got three things between Johnny Cash and Babyface.
Dang, I was not taking as good a notes as you.
All right, here's my next one, and it's a quick one because it's something I didn't find all that great during the Walter Payton Award. Which is, during the pregame, not like the 16 hours of pregame, but during the actual, almost, it's the pre-kick is what they called it. But anyway, they had the Walter Payton Award, and they played a U2 version of this, a version of the U2 song One that I thought was the weakest version of that song I have ever heard. I was not impressed.
Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't write it down, because I did not like it whatsoever. And I am one of the largest U2 fans.
So you didn't want to shit on this podcast. One of your favorite bands.
No, I blocked it out of my mind. It's like, they've done it better. Haynes has done it better. It's like everyone's done it better than that. It was not. I understand what they were doing with it. But that doesn't, just understanding it doesn't make you like it.
No,
that kind of thing.
Didn't like it at all. I thought that song should have been.
Hated it.
The next up for me was Diddy Don't Do Jingles, the first 30-second commercial. where that's all it was him saying he doesn't do jingles, and it was. I don't even know if they said what it was for at that.
No, it slid in at the very, very, very end because that was my one of my big commercial things because that was an ongoing a ongoing epic commercial, and but yeah, Diddy don't do jingles. That's a great tagline.
And that's a two-parter commercial. So we'll come back to round 2 where they actually...
There's 3 parts.
Well, I saw part 1 and part 2. And part 1 is early, and I thought, okay, this could be pretty funny. Diddy don't do jingles. We'll come back to that. After that, I took note of... and this one... Gosh, I really wasn't even sure to bring this up because is it music? Is it singing? Is it what? And this would be DJ Khaled introducing the Chiefs and then the Eagles.
Nope.
Not so we should just move on because that doesn't.
Well, it's not music because he did not say DJ Khaled one time, and if it's music and it's DJ Khaled, he has to. I mean, that's the rule. He made this rule years ago that he has to shout DJ Khaled at least once, or otherwise it disqualifies.
So maybe he's growing as a person and is being, more humble and appreciative of others in his music.
No, he got paid more to do that than to say DJ Khaled.
I think you're right. Let's move on. All right, we're on to Babyface singing "America the Beautiful."
I was not sold. It was good, but. I've heard much better renditions, and that's one of my favorite, patriotic songs or whatever.
I wasn't sold either. I know that guy can sing, but
he can.
He was doing it in a weird style, almost like he was out of breath at the beginning of the song.
Yeah, almost like he was nervous, and it was just flat. The performance I thought was flat, and then when they brought stuff in, I was. Because he definitely sold it because that he was actually playing it live and not lip syncing and blah blah blah. But when they brought in the track later on,
I wrote down huge backing track, way out of
left field and out of sync, and yeah, it was flat. Yeah, so now we can go to the real stuff.
Now we can move on to Chris Stapleton on the national anthem.
Well, we have the.
There's something between that.
Before the national anthem, a lady from the show Abbott Elementary did the Black National Anthem, and that was pretty killer because she started out pretty real simple. Then brought the choir in. The choir was there, and they're giving her all kinds of crap for was she lip syncing? Was she not? And I loved her response to it. Was, did you see it? Yes. Did it matter? And she didn't even care if it was. He goes. It was there. The track was there. I was singing along. Whether they put my voice in or the one that I recorded, I don't know, because they do that, because of, and I think that was 1990s. One of I can't remember what vocalist it was, but they always record it in case the live feed goes bad. And sure enough, the live feed went bad halfway through the thing, and you could literally see a click. You could hear a click, and you could see. The audio engineers were on the money, but they went from the live feed to the lip sync, to the recorded version, because the singer's mic went bad or something, and ever since then, since before then, they would have that as a standby, and some people have had to use it because it was just bad. It was bad mic day, which which happens, as we know, being live performing musicians.
So I do remember this happening, and I was watching, but this is one I missed. I didn't write anything down about it. I think I must have been getting my spinach balls out of the oven while this was playing.
Spinach Spinach balls.
So here's a few seconds of the Black National Anthem, "Lift Every Voice and Sing," performed by Cheryl Lee Ralph at this Super Bowl.
To perform "Lift Every Voice and Sing," please welcome Emmy Award winner Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our
It does not look or sound lip synced to me, and I think she's right. It does not matter.
Yeah, she does, because she doesn't know. I mean, that was basically what I pulled from that comment was I was singing it. Whether that's what they put out, that's up to them. That's the way it goes sometimes. And that's cool because I don't know. I can't, I couldn't tell. There were certain parts that you're like, well, would she make that face at that very moment if she's singing that note? And I'm not that familiar with her singing style. That some performers, you know what they look like when they're singing a specific note or whatever, and you can tell if they're not looking exactly like that, they're probably not singing that exact note. But I don't know her, and some of the things looked a little too stylized or formal, which would mean the possibility. I mean, I know that I get a little stylized and formal when I lip sync stuff, but I once again, the basis of it is who cares? She sang it. She wasn't. If she was lip syncing, she wasn't lip syncing somebody else's voice. She wasn't Milli Vanilli-ing it.
She was there on that stage, surrounded by thousands of people, actually singing into an actual microphone.
Whether or not that was what came out, that's up to the audio engineers.
Yeah,
Period.
and from what I've heard, it can be super tough for those audio engineers to get that stuff to sound right, and for the musician, for the vocalist to get it right in the stadium because of the delay, how far the speakers are away from you. You got your in-ear monitors, you've got the sound around you. It can be almost disorienting to try to sing that live in that setting, and so that's why sometimes it's just better to play the pre-recorded track.
Yeah, and it's always there,
Yeah.
whether it's used or not. So.
Next up, Chris Stapleton. I got a feeling this was definitely not pre-recorded.
I don't even know if he had a backup. He's that kind of guy that will eschew anything that is
Not genuine.
right, that he would deem as not copacetic. And but you can absolutely tell live and poignant and on the money. Oh my God, one of the best.
We got to hear a little.
One
bit
of the best
this.
ones.
Yeah, let's
absolutely
let's do it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Oh, so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular tango band again way. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
So I said I was going to play a few seconds, but I think
That was enough.
I think the entire thing's going in this show.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that gave me chills again.
I'm getting I'm all verklempt right now.
Yes, me too. And it was just absolutely beautiful. And
Seeing the Philadelphia coach in tears while that was happening, if you weren't already in tears yourself, like that was like waterworks for me.
yeah, I mean, it meant so much. They discussed it with him and was it Kresge's? Yeah, about what it meant, and it was like,
Kelsey.
Kelsey's. It's like when we hear the anthem, then we'll know that we're in the Super Bowl. It's like that's the Super Bowl to them it wasn't real until some extremely wonderful great singer sang the national anthem.
Yeah.
And at that point, they all realized, dang, we're in the Super Bowl, which is totally cool. I mean, I'm not a big sports fan. You're not either, but this is, obviously we both watched something for two non-sports guys, not just for the commercials, kind of sort of a little bit, but it is, it's a big deal. And especially if you play football, it is the biggest of big deals because it's what you go for. It's the Grammy Award. It's the Oscar. It's the Best Picture Oscar.
Yeah, my team doesn't need to be in it for me to be totally into watching the Super Bowl. And I'm not a huge sports guy. I definitely have my sports. I like baseball.
Oh, you love baseball.
I've always loved football. It's been very hard to be a fan of generally football and especially the Washington Commanders.
Hey, come on, man! They're rebuilding.
Yeah, right.
They're rebuilding this year,
if they could,
and last year, and the 6 decades before that. But they're rebuilding, man. Rebuilding.
It's been hard to be in it, but I'll watch almost any sport when it's in the playoffs and it's like do or die time. I mean, I'll watch curling, and it's exciting to me when everything in that player's experience is on the line in that sport. I think it's incredibly entertaining for me. And so this is obviously the culmination of a whole lot of work by a whole lot of people. And so, it's great. And Chris Stapleton singing the national anthem, he did not fall into that trap that some people fall into singing that, where you start too high and then you get to the Rockets' red glare and you got nowhere to go.
You are, yeah. Chris Stapleton, I mean, he knows himself better. I mean, that he's one of the most self-aware musicians on the planet. Absolutely 100%, because he sits in with more people. Did you see him on, I think it was the Grammys, sitting in with Stevie Wonder playing Smokey Robinson?
I still haven't gone back and seen that. I've heard of it. I heard it, but I didn't watch it yet.
Oh my God. No, that was, I mean, every bit as amazing as what he just did now with the national anthem. I mean, but if possibly even a little bit more without the heartstrings, because number one, he's playing with Stevie Wonder and trading vocal riffs with Stevie Wonder. On Stevie Wonder's song, it's like, holy crap. And so he knows but he does everything. I don't want to say he doesn't push himself, but he knows his limitations. He knows his vocal range, and he ain't gonna, especially in something this important, he is not going to push that envelope. He is going to sing it well within what he knows, that every time that he shoots for that note, he knows he's going to get it. There is no, there's none of this, The Voice or American Idol kind of thing going, you can make this, you can do it, and where half the time they don't, when they miss the note. He knows exactly what he can sing and when he can sing it, and he will not push himself beyond that in a situation like this. Now, live, he might, in a regular Chris Stapleton show, he might just go for it, because it doesn't matter too much to him. But in this means everything, that he hits those, hits every note that he intends to hit. That's the key.
And I see him wearing in-ear monitors. He also had 2 floor monitors on the ground in front of him, and they were wired up. I believe he had both, and I think that's evidence that he was performing it live with no backup. Like, it was all on him to get it right, to sync up his voice with the guitar, with what the sound is in the stadium. If his in-ear monitors were on the fritz, he could pop them out. He's got stage monitors there. I think he was fully prepared to do this and did it 100% live.
Well, Fender actually put out a little thing for it, and they provided the instrumentation for him, because that's his signature. That's his signature telly and his signature amp, and they made absolutely sure that it was the models that they brought were absolutely perfect, and of course his guitar tech set it up for him and everything. But I mean, they showed what it looked like. They had the mic was double amp, just like it's in the studio, and it was,
or maybe the amp was double mic'd.
Is that what I said?
No, you said the mic was double amped.
Oh, the mic was double amped. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm still sober. I can't really think sober. You got me working so much, man. It's just, it confuses me sometimes. The amp was double mic'd, just like in the studio. And, they were telling us, the types of mics and the chords, the Mogami chords that they're using. It was very, they want to make sure that everybody knew, yes, he's playing his guitar through his amp live in the Super Bowl. They ain't no backing tracks going. I mean, there was no chorus coming, no choir coming in, anything. It's him and a guitar and an amp in front of 100 million people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
a highlight of the experience for sure. I'll remember every bit of that. I don't necessarily remember much of the game. Let's move on. I've got commercials.
The
next.
Chiefs won, I hear.
That's Mahomes.
Mahomes.
So that was the national anthem. How about those Jesus commercials?
How about those Jesus commercials?
Now, I thought there's been so much press about should whatever organization spend $20 million making these and putting these commercials on in the Super Bowl, would Jesus do that or not? I see both sides of that, right? I mean, people that are Christians, it's their mission to get the word out. And also people that are Christians are like, hey, maybe we could have spent that money better. I get both sides of that. That's not what we're here to debate, though. The music in those commercials and the commercials themselves
awesome.
Were mesmerizing.
Yes,
I watched
were awesome.
every second of those going, I have no idea what this is for, but this is powerful.
Well, yes, it was. They were very powerful and they were very striking. What bothered me was when I think I found out either yesterday or today who actually produced them, and
Hobby Lobby.
Yes, that's not good. I mean,
No.
Well, that and they're tied with the Koch brothers, and I mean, this is some subversive stuff. I mean, these are not good people that are, but they're, and makes no sense because the Jesus commercials were very Jesus oriented, and yet these other, the Hobby Lobby and the Koch brothers they are not. And I was talking to a friend of mine today. This is it's just an oxymoron. I mean, it's just like, are you trying to, what's going on? Because this is not what I mean. When I found out what the groups that put it out, I'm like, that's not what you believe. This is absolutely 100%, 180 degrees from what you believe. This is what real Christians believe. It's like, it blew my mind. So I don't know. I can't really comment on it more than that because I'm stymied.
Yeah, I was at the end of each one of those. I went, huh, okay. It was almost like they were trying to be the cool Christians, despite the fact
they're trying to be the real Christians. Right, yeah. I mean, and I didn't know who it was, so I was like, man, that's really cool that there's some people out here trying to offset this nasty overtake of these white racist nationalist Christians that have usurped the religion. It's really nice that this is happening. And I found out today, wait a minute, it's those people putting some lipstick on the pig. It's like, wait a minute, are you, all right, so who's lying? And that just completely ruined them for me. And I just watched one just a few minutes ago, and I'm like, oh man, this is, I can't watch this anymore. I loved it. It was, love the commercial, but hate the people behind it. So I have a real hard time with that. So
I'm going to move rapid fire through a few of these, then after I read these next 4 commercials, you let me know if you got more thoughts on them or if we should just skip on down to Rihanna. There's the Diddy Uber commercial number 2, where they had Donna Summers and 1 or 2 others, and then the What Does the Fox Say guys in the studio, sort of auditioning their version of an Uber One song.
Jingle. Mm-hmm.
And then they settled on some guy. I don't even know who he was, but that's basically the gist of commercial 2 for the Diddy Uber thing.
Yeah, and it was good. I mean, it was a good second part. There is like I said, there is a third part where they're talking. Some other guys are talking about it, and Diddy. I don't remember Diddy being in that one, but it was definitely the third. The third part. Brings
it all home.
Yeah. It kind of wraps it up in a nice little bundle.
So TurboTax incorporated the song Safety Dance into one of their ads. That was fun.
I made big notes on that because I love that song. Took me back.
Yeah. Jeep also had a song in their commercial, Shake the Boogie Woogie, which was a lot of fun as well. I don't know anything about that. Was that an original? Was it an old song? I don't remember.
No, it's an old disco song. I mean, they can get those just as cheap as having somebody write it for them. So
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's like if somebody bought one of our songs to use, they there's a minimum that they kind of have to pay, and that's what they'd pay us, and that's what they'd pay the old disco pioneer people, unless it was a huge hit. If it was a huge hit, then they would have to pay 10 times that or whatever. But for most of the songs out there are it's not a statutory rate like as if you were doing just a cover song on a record. But there is what is pretty much the standard $50,000 to sync it to video. That's not set in stone. It's not the law. It's not anything. That's just kind of the accepted thing. But that's kind of the minimum, and that's probably what they got. They probably whoever the writers of the song pocketed about $50,000 to be in that.
How about the Dorito Triangle commercial with Jack Harlow? Did you see that one?
My pick for number one.
Really?
I mean, I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Jack Harlow. I mean, he's good. He's done some stuff, but it's not on. He's not on my radar. And I'm just watching it, so and I grab my pad. I'm like, and I'm cracking up because, we talk about more cowbell, and they reference more cowbell.
America has a case of triangle fever.
Everybody, we are sold out of triangles, but we still have cowbells.
I mean, they got Elton John playing a grand triangle, and then it also hit me how freaking hard it was to get that triangle part on recorded on our theme song, and I'm just, the whole thing just came together for me. I mean, this is my personal. I don't know that you're obviously not going, this is number one, but for my personal thing, it was the triangulation of three different things that made that commercial really resonate with me, and I've watched that commercial more than in all the other ones combined, probably, because I just loved it.
Yep, loved it as well. I also, Jack Harlow was never on my radar until he was on Saturday Night Live. I think he was one of those musical guests as well as the show host at the same time, sort of a thing. And I'd never heard of him before seeing him on Saturday Night Live, and I haven't gone deep diving into his music or anything, but I like the guy. He was all in on Saturday Night Live. He has a sense of humor about himself. He's a fun guy, and this seemed like the perfect Jack Harlow Doritos commercial. And then
I can't help but think that he had some input in it.
I would think so. And then Elton John is like the icing on the top.
Oh God, that's I was done. I was done. And playing the grand triangle. It was, oh God.
All right, I think we're there. I think we're at halftime here. So Rihanna, I've got thoughts. I've got stuff, but you want to get started on this? Let's first talk about lip syncing. How about that?
Okay. So
backing tracks, right? This is backing
tracks. Well, she had a band.
I didn't even see the band until the last 2 minutes, though. Were they there the whole time? I don't.
They were there.
So.
They were there the whole time.
Really?
They were playing the whole time, but they also had some. They also were being. They were also being supplemented.
Yeah.
Whether it was MIDI going or backing tracks or whatever. Which is on this, and I've actually done some research on the halftime shows. Remember, we talked about Saturday Night Live shows where the performers are not paid, and if they want to do anything, it's on their nickel.
Yeah.
Same thing with not quite the same, but similar the same for the Super Bowl. The artists are not paid, but, and here's the big but. I mean, this is baby got back butt.
Everyone's got a big butt, Gary.
Yeah. Not everyone. But I've been told mine was just about right.
That's a Pee-wee's Big Adventure joke, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that one. Sorry. But anyway, and this is a big but the all production costs are covered by the NFL. And they ran down a list, and dang it, I did not save that list. But the top costing halftime shows, the very number one was Aerosmith at $15 million.
Wow!
But that's the thing. The artist gets to. By not, by comparison, Prince's was only 11 or 13 million. But the artist gets to basically spend, for one time only, they're not spending their potential money. It's like not that they're spending their money when they do these things, but they are spending potential money that they could otherwise make. They ain't gonna make a nickel, but they have an open wallet. So it has become more and more and more about the spectacle. Mm-hmm. And so I said all that to bring us to Rihanna, which her show cost $13 million for 13 minutes, which is not bad considering that a 30-second ad cost $7 million. So I think the NFL got a really good deal on the money spent, because you got 13 minutes of pretty awesome performance for $13 million.
And more people watched the halftime show with Rihanna
than watched the game.
Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. Now, that being said, I said all of that to say this: when we're not looking at a concert. This is not a concert. This is not this is not your folks in your local venue coming there to entertain you. This has to be larger than anything ever at that moment in time. I mean, it has to be. That's the requirement. And so, do they use backing tracks? Yes, because she would need another 100 people in the band just to make enough noise, So, but they can layer that stuff. Did she use vocal tracks? Most likely. I mean, there were times that I could swear to God that she was singing live. There were times that I could swear to God she was not.
I think it was actually pretty good use of backing tracks, and I thought it was.
I think it was the
obvious.
perfect level.
I think her mic was live the whole time, so if she wanted to shout out to somebody, she could.
Yeah, the mic's always live. They're always there, but where the other vocalists, she had about 10 more vocalists down in on the ground. Were they singing it, or were somebody else singing it? I don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't really care.
And she pulled her mic away many times where it was clearly still her voice singing in addition to the background vocalists, but she wasn't, because she was kind of in the moment and it was a style thing. And so my take on it is that backing tracks on purpose, unashamed, and that's what it is, so that
because it was a spectacle. It wasn't a concert.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it takes to have a perfect performance, I'm okay with that, right? Because, like you said, there's no room for this not to be awesome.
Yeah, but now, if I was paying to go to see her in concert, or if I was going free, I wouldn't care. If I was going to see her in concert, I would not want that. That would not be copacetic, because I'm paying money. Yeah. If I want to listen to her on CD or on streaming, I'll do that in my car. I'll do that at my home. I do that in my office where I've got my kick-ass little stereo system set up. I'm not going to pay $400 to go watch somebody lip sync. But that being said, this is not that. This is the spectacle to beat all spectacles. I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's what it needs to be about. And if they, in order to make that happen, they got whatever they got to use. Let's do it, because they ain't getting nothing from it. Other than the knowledge that they just put on the biggest thing that they could ever possibly dream up. And, I mean, what an imagination to have, 4 floating stages.
I think it was 6. It was crazy.
Was it 6? I don't know.
Somebody described it as she and her dancers were descending from the sky on dumbwaiters.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was just crazy that what she did with But once I read that article about why, how these whole things go now, that completely made sense as to why they completely and utterly just go for broke.
Yeah.
Why not?
Now, all those dancers get paid, right? Like, that's what the $13 million is.
That's what the $13 million goes for. The musicians, all expenses. That's why if you'll notice, the amount of dancers per performance has gone up and up and up and up. It's just the artists do not, they don't get their thing, but they get their, they get their trailer and they get their, they get their riders and stuff. They, the expenses and things. It's just they don't get their fee. So that $13 million goes, but at the same time, just look at the number of microphones and stuff that they used for that, that was about $2 million worth of just microphones.
I thought those dancers were pretty damn legit to have that many people that perfectly in lockstep with each other. I thought
150 feet in the air.
Yes, in the air, on the ground, on the stage, everywhere, and they were perfect. I couldn't find one flaw in any of the dancers' moves. Rihanna, sometimes she was with them, sometimes not, which I think brings us to the whole, she's pregnant thing.
Yeah.
I assumed when watching it that was a baby bump. And that everybody knew Rihanna was pregnant except me because she's not on my radar at all. But apparently that was her reveal that she was pregnant.
Right. Yeah, I was waiting for the big exploding pink or blue thing or whatever. But that was and of course there's been all kinds of guessing, of skepticism of what the white clad dancers meant relative to her baby bump, but it's like, I don't care. They're dressed in white. Everybody that's had dancers recently, they've all been very much dressed in white, and I think that's just for the visual. This is a very, you need as much visibility as possible just to make it on the grand epic scale. If they were dressed in zebra color, or any kind of print or anything
shark
like
costumes.
that. Yeah. Well, if you're 15 feet tall in a shark costume, that'll work. But for when you have what? How many dancers would you say she had? 100?
It was 75 to 100, something like that.
Yeah, 75 to 100 dancers. I mean, you're not going to dress them differently. They need to be all in step.
They need to all be wearing Snuggies.
Yeah. And so white is what's going to show up. That's what's going to show up on the video. This is the whole thing. This is all calculated to be the biggest spectacle of the year, period. That's it. It's being viewed by more people than anything else, and it needs to be the biggest thing that happens. And so you want every little morsel of it has gone through by technical professionals that are way above our pay grade, that or sit there and they color balance they color balance the thread in the outfits of the dancers. That stuff happens, folks. That's the real deal. That's what happens. That's why they're all dressed in specific colors.
What about Rihanna music in general, right? Not just this performance, but I'm not really into it for the most part. I think every now and then it sounds like she's on purpose singing like a baby might sing. That's my interpretation of her singing style. It's not my kind of music at all, but what do you think of it?
I fell in love with her with Umbrella.
stand under my umbrella.
Which was, God, she probably wasn't even 20 years old when she released that. And that song, it's an earworm. You know, most of her songs, most of her hits are absolute earworms. I mean, they get locked in your brain and they do not go away. You know, and you can attribute that to her songwriters and producers and her and everything else. But whoever you attribute it to, that doesn't remove the fact that if you listen to it, chances are it's going to get locked in your brain until another earworm can come in and smash it out of your brain. That being said, I just suggested to the folks today that we should play a Rihanna song.
Yeah, we have our band has a group text going, and that's not what I was expecting to see in the group text today. Hey guys, let's cover a Rihanna song. And but then you suggested a particular song. I'm like, all right, that song kind of does work, and it's one where I think her singing is right on. She doesn't sound like baby talking through a song. So what is it? I fell in love in a hopeless place. Is that the? I don't even know if that's the name of the song.
We found love in a hopeless place. So we're going to see if we can work that up.
We're going to work that up. To be fair, is going to try to do that song.
You know, because that was one of my favorites. I mean, I looked at Umbrella because that was my hands down favorite for a long time. Even after Found Love came out, but Umbrella is just it's a very weird, it's a very complex song. I mean, it's just, and I don't want to spend, you know, we spend a lot of time on our arrangements, and I don't want to spend, you know, an exorbitant amount of time just working up a cover song that we may play twice or three times. You know, it's like, because you never know, you know, you don't know if A, we can actually do it justice, or B, if anybody will care or pay or you know, pay attention. So, you know, I don't want to. I'm not into spending 3 weeks into working up a song that that may only see 1 or 2 shows.
Well, we did just work up a Miley Cyrus song, so
but that's a gimme. Yeah. I mean that's one of the best songs in the last 20 years. So.
Which song was it? You'll have to find out the next time you come see To Be Fair play live.
Yes, which we've been actually going out and applying for gigs. So hopefully this spring you'll be able to see us.
That would be awesome. Let's move on back into commercials. And this next one isn't a music thing. It's just a commercial that I know you are itching to talk about. I can only imagine what was going through your mind as you're watching the Tubi commercial, because if you're a listener of this show, then you know Gary's feelings on Tubi.
Oh my God.
They are strong. It is not a streaming service I have tapped into yet, but the commercial basically pointed out exactly what Gary pointed out about Tubi. So I think he was right on the money. Talk more about your reaction to that commercial, Gary.
I'm going, they listen to our podcast. I was so excited because, you know, I don't care. I don't want to, you know, they give it to us free. So, I'm not expecting any money or anything. It would be really cool, though, if they would, send some comments in or join the Facebook group. But damn, it's like, it was exactly what we had talked about in the podcast about going down the rabbit holes of Tubi. And I had to stop after that. I had to stop and rewind it, much to the chagrin of everyone else in the room, because they wanted to get on to that football game. I don't, whatever. But I wanted to see the Tubi commercial again, because damn, that was good.
The rabbits pushing people down the holes. I had no idea where this was going. It was funny. The visuals were hilarious. And then I realized it's a Tubi commercial. I'm like, holy shit, that's exactly what Gary said.
They were listening, man. Hey, Tubi, thank you. Thank you for taking my idea and making a Super Bowl commercial. I feel honored.
Did you see the other Tubi commercial?
Yeah, I was going to say we should probably go ahead and hit the other Tubi commercial because that one's actually gotten more press.
Yeah.
Because God, what a fake out. I mean, how awesome was that? They actually used the actual people that are doing the broadcast and flip off of that into searching for Tubi to go down the rabbit hole. And according to the article, it pissed off a lot of people.
Because it totally embraced the idea that there's people out there that may not be into watching the Super Bowl on a Super Bowl ad during the Super Bowl. How cool is that? I thought it was brilliant. But who's pissed off about that?
Oh, because people thought that their TVs were broken.
Oh, they actually got fooled. I love. Okay,
they were actually fooled. They're like, who's doing that? What? And they're looking. They got the remote in their hand, and no, they're not doing anything. And yet, it's searching for another show, and they're just they're just freaking out because they don't know what's going on yet. And then it comes up Tubi, and so. They're just, what a freaking great ad campaign though. That double hit. I think as fun as the Uber ones were, to walk through the three of those, that double hit from Tubi, I think, blew them out of the water as far as the multi-part commercial this year.
Well played, Tubi.
Well played, Tubi. Well played. And seriously, since you're listening and since you're going, we'd be more than happy if you sponsored the our little podcast here because you do love us. All right.
Let's move on to the Crown Royal commercial featuring Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl. Oh, yeah, that's a two-parter. That's another two-parter.
Yeah, I think there's actually 3 parts to that. I was looking at those.
I've only seen 2.
Did you see the 2-minute Canadian national anthem where the girl is shredding?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That
Deborah.
was amazing.
Yeah, that was...
Who was that was shredding? We should play a clip of that.
Let's play a clip of it real quick. She's an up-and-coming shredderator.
Okay, let's try it one more time.
Okay.
And this time, really, really take it to the edge. So your toes are hanging off the cliff. You're about to fall. I'll hold your belt loop. I won't let you go all the way. But let's see what you got.
Okay.
Who doesn't love shredding guitar for a national anthem? I love it.
Who doesn't want to work with Dave Grohl in the studio?
Yeah, right.
I do. He's building one down in Lynchburg, by the way. So
he's building a studio in Lynchburg?
Yeah, so we might be visiting him for the big project. So. Ooh.
Do I have to edit that out of the show, or can we tease that?
No, I like teasing.
Okay, that's it though. No more.
But no, both of those were they were phenomenal.
I love all the the facts about Canada.
Yeah.
Like it makes me want to go.
They made the football and the basketball. Peanut butter though. I thought that
was George Washington Carver. That's what I learned in school.
But now we find out that he was actually Canadian.
Wait,
George probably find that
Carver was Canadian?
I guess so. He invented peanut butter, and then if it was invented in Canada, maybe he wasn't Canadian, but maybe he had escaped to Canada.
Maybe. I feel like fact checking the Dave Grohl Canada commercial might be a good idea.
But I think that's beyond the scope of our thing, because Dave, it's Dave Grohl, man.
It doesn't matter. Dave Grohl said it. It must be true.
It must be true, and if it's not true, I don't really care.
No, I don't.
Oh, can we mention, because we've passed by this, and I know this was early on, because it was music related, but it had no music in it. But Nick Jonas advertising a diabetes treatment thing, boring.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't even write anything down. I don't even remember it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was like, really? I mean, any
He needs to take some notes from Jack Harlow.
Yeah, I mean, any actual actor that is trying to make a living could have done that, and it would have had the same impact. I mean,
Zero impact.
Oh no, I mean it was an information. It was an actual commercial with information, and having Nick Jonas in it was absolutely 100% superfluous. They spent money to get Nick Jonas when they could have hired an actor that needed the money, that could have used the money, because it was an informational. You don't need Nick Jonas to tell people with diabetes that, hey, there's a new thing that might keep you from dying. I mean, it just made no sense.
How about the Amazon commercial with the dog? I was watching the Super Bowl with my girlfriend Kiki, and she couldn't care less about football. Wasn't really tuned into all the commercials. Certainly she watched the halftime show, but literally anytime there was a commercial with a dog on it, she looks up from her phone or wakes up from her nap and she is immediately hyper tuned in. And that was just an adorable commercial, music playing, just a lovely song the whole time.
Yeah,
with a super happy ending where the dog gets a playmate.
Oh yeah, that was very that was really cute.
Anyway.
But speaking of dogs, we got to do the bush. Is that anywhere near where you are?
I don't have that. What are you talking about?
Sarah McLachlan.
Oh yeah,
Sarah McLachlan. What an awesome play on yourself. Because they're doing this whole fake thing of survival tactics and finding shelter, and the tent opens up and the SPCA song starts to play, and Sarah's like, yes, we need to find shelters for these poor underprivileged animals, and the guy goes, wrong commercial, Sarah. And she goes, no, by the way, that's a wolf. Yeah. And she goes, oh.
Do you think the SPCA was pissed off that she was making fun of her commercials with them?
They can't be, because she's donated all that to them for how many years? 20 years? No, I mean that's. But actually, it brought you back to that. I mean, that was also a positive thing for the SPCA, because they got mentioned. Someone else paid for it. Hey, that's a win-win-win-win-win situation.
They didn't have to spend their own $7 million.
Yeah, I mean that was beautiful, and the whole fact that Sarah McLachlan was willing to kind of make fun of herself, and everything in the same thing. Beautiful. I mean that was art. I mean that was art. I mean I still like the Jack Harlow one better.
Yeah. All right. Next up is my vote for number one commercial during the Super Bowl, and it was for a company I was unfamiliar with, Workday, with all the rock stars.
The rock stars, yes. I have to admit that would, if I had seen that live, because I saw it today, and I loved it. If I'd have seen it live, right back to back with Jack Harlow, I would have to throw my vote in with you also.
So I tried to capture everybody I saw in it. So I don't know which member of KISS it is. I know it's not Gene Simmons. Was that Ace Frehley? I don't know.
I think that was Ace. It kind of a generic one, so it might not have actually been a player from an actual KISS member. It might not. I don't know.
So either way, it's KISS.
The most important one
Ozzy?
Was Oswald.
Oswald?
Oswald. That was the most important one. And of course, Billy Idol, Joan Jett.
Gary Clark Jr.
Gary Clark Jr.
Those were all the names I captured
But
that I recognized.
those were the main ones, but Ozzy was the number one, hands down. And when he turns around in the cubicles and he goes, "Hello, I'm Oswald."
Oswald.
that was classic, man. That was so classic.
It legit reminded me of all the times I've called coworkers rock stars for just being a good coworker.
Yes, I used to get really aggravated about that because they would call it oh, such and such is being a rock star, and I'm like, no, they're not. I haven't seen them do any cocaine. No cocaine done whatsoever. There looks like they're wearing khakis and a polo. Nope. That's no. That's a big nope on that. It's like, and every so often I would get a little thing at work, and they were going, "Okay, so now we actually have a real rock star." I'm like, "Well, yeah, small scale. It's like I've gotten up. I got up to this level, but not. And but yeah, it's like, and I do have to take take a little bit of offense at these people who have never done anything other than whatever we're supposed to do, being called a rock star, because it's wrong. I mean, they're not rock stars. I don't care. Call them business stars or kudos. I mean, I'm more than willing to give them kudos, give them whatever. But they're not freaking rock stars.
I'm never going to be able to call another coworker a rock star again without just laughing and kind of doing it ironically now. Like, that's ruined.
Well, yeah, and then yeah, you can't, you shouldn't, and I think that's what they were trying to tell us too, is like, you got to stop this. You got to stop this. Come up with your own damn term. You've definitely gotten a whole corporate language with, we're going to unpack this, and there's many layers, and we'll what is it? We'll circle back.
Yeah,
I love that. We're going to circle back on that, and then we'll unpack it, and
a lot of unpacking going on.
A lot of unpacking. They've got their own language. Don't steal it from us. We ain't got that much. We got a couple of swear words, and that we've kind of promised not to use anymore, and that's about it. We got some swear words and old drug stories, and that's about it. Please give us our rock star back.
Wow, you're equating rock star with words that have been canceled?
No, we didn't. They didn't get canceled. We just promised not to go down there anymore. We promised your dad.
Oh, you mean on us on our show, not rock stars in general?
Oh, no, just us on our show.
I get it.
We kind of promised to not do it if we can help it. And I've been a very good boy, and you've been a very good boy.
I dropped an F-bomb in this last week. So
yes, I know.
One.
I remember that, but just one. We'd still get a PG-13.
Right.
So but I'm trying not to build that up, and I think we're doing great, and it feels good.
That's all I got.
A couple of, I think, honorable mentions was the T-Mobile Grease song with
John Travolta doing, yes.
And I thought that was, I mean, and come on, you're the uber thespian now. Yeah, I figured you'd pick up on that one.
No, I did pick up on it. Somehow I missed writing any notes about it down. But yeah, no, I loved it. I thought they did a good job of using camera lenses that made him look as thin as he did back when he did Grease.
Yeah.
Because he is not that thin anymore. But
he's older.
He's still got it, though.
Are you as thin as when you did Grease?
Yes, actually.
I am not. Oh,
that's I was fat.
I am not
fat then too. No,
you were fat.
I haven't
then
done
too.
Grease.
I was considerably thinner at that point. Yeah. I wore a size 28 jeans.
Wow.
Calvin Klein's.
I didn't know they made them that small.
I didn't either. But it's amazing what cocaine does for your waistline.
Huh.
It's highly recommended, but it does get expensive. Okay, so music from just the background music, the music behind the Pixel phone ad was compelling.
The one where they were fixing all the old photos and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just. I mean, it was either made for it, or they bought it from one of the companies that does background music, or specific what do they call that? I mean,
Royalty
technically
free music, stuff like that.
Oh no, it's not. Well, it's royalty free because you just buy it. You buy the license.
Yeah.
You pay a flat fee. You don't have to pay for it forever. But you do pay a flat fee, and the people that make that music do really, really well. I've got a couple of friends that I got one guy. That's all he does. He's like, "Oh, dude, I'll never play another live show again." It's like all I want to do is go into my music room and crank out some tunes because I can. He goes in 30 minutes he can crank out a 5-minute loop that he can make a couple grand on within the first 6 months. And he's like, and if they use it again, then I get another, this and another. He goes, it's a no-brainer, but you gotta, I mean, most of the people that really do well with that are keyboardists and people that's all they do. You're just sitting there, if I could really concentrate on using the stuff that I've got right now, I could probably crank out some stuff like the new theme song for the show. But I don't, I'm doing 3 other things, and so that does make it an issue. I did want to give a big shout out to whatever, and I've seen the ads 2 or 3 times, and I really don't know exactly what it's for, but it involves. I mean, it's for a movie, but I don't know who the star is. I think it might be The Flash, but it involves Shazam. And 2 Batmans, including the Michael Keaton Batman.
Keaton coming back as Batman.
And I am psyched. I am stoked. I am ready.
Michael Keaton will always be my Batman.
I would have to say that, yes. Although I wish that George Clooney had an opportunity to actually do a serious Batman, because I think he could have really excelled, except for the debacle that was Batman.
Whatever Batman that he was in was
Batman and Robin. Yeah, and it really didn't help that the bat suit had nipples. It just didn't.
Oh, was that the
was
one
not
with
a
the nipples? Yeah,
that was the
Batman
bat nipples. Yeah, that was the bat nipples. Definitely down. So, recap. Number 1, Rockstar.
Nice job with that commercial Workday.
Number 1 Prime, or 1B is Triangle.
Doritos,
you gotta love it.
Doritos always comes through with good stuff.
And big honorable mention to the Sarah McLachlan one, because just the Dave Grohl's. Dave Grohl because it's Dave Grohl, but Sarah McLachlan for owning it and making fun of it and loving it.
And go Tubi.
Go Tubi! Thanks for listening. This has been Small Things Considered, a Ranch Hand Records production.
Brought to you by Anchor.
And it's hosted by me, Gary.
And me, J.R.
Written and produced by Gary and J.R.
Researched and fact-checked, in quotes, by Gary and J.R.
Really well edited by J.R.
It only sounds that way because Gary does the QA and lets me know where I have screwed up my editing.
The theme song Picture This is by To Be Fair at www.tobefair.com. That is TOBEFARE.com. facebook.com.
Damn, we should have spelled that Tubi. Tubi.
Ooh, damn.
Is it too late for another band name change?
I could possibly do that. I could make this happen.
I'll put a link to Be Fair, TOBEFARE.com in the podcast notes. You just scroll down and click on it to get to our website.
Please sign up with us on the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/Small Things Considered Podcast.
You can also email us directly if you had thoughts for the show, reactions to this reaction show, or things you would like us to consider. Small Things Considered Podcast at gmail.com.
Small note, we are not going to consider what you asked for, Brian McKenzie. Please subscribe to your favorite platform, share, like, and rate number 5 if possible.
And so just a reminder, this is out of step with our normal cycle. 3 Things with JR and Small Things Considered will continue to come out on alternate weeks. This is a special episode that will be both shows for this
on the same day.
This go round. So there you go. You're getting extra bonus content, everybody.
Amazing. And we're not even charging you for it. So think about that. Yet. We're gonna although you could go to the website and buy some of our stuff.
Hey now.
That'd be cool. But for JR, I'm Gary.
And for Gary Hawthorne, I'm JR. And just remember, don't sweat the small stuff.
Let us consider it.